Have you ever wondered what these secret societies that rule the world are doing when they do their rituals? Who or what are they accessing? We're going to take a listen to a clip today that I found very interesting of a man named Nathan Reynolds. And his family believes that they are direct descendants, bloodline descendants from the Watchers of Fallen Angels and even Nimrod. And we're going to listen to this clip today because I thought this was very interesting of one of the rituals that they do of who and what they're accessing and what they're trying to do. So before we get into it, if you're new here, my name is Callie. Welcome. And let's get into this clip.
Tell you if I'm correct on this macro run through history to present. You have these fallen angels who have come. They want to take over. They are punished. They're sort of trapped somewhere, but there's some level of communication has already gotten out. The cat's already out of the bag. And so humans know things that we shouldn't. And so we're now weaponizing this. And you have like these human agents that are working for fallen beings.
Subscribe.
And there's a level of liability protection for these fallen beings because they're working through, like, there's arm's length distances. And we had somebody on, Gary Wayne was talking about this, like the fallen angels, like they're not stupid. And so they're kind of, they have a distance. So they're communicating so that their stuff will get done, but they're distanced from the act itself, right?
Why do they almost need like liability protection or to distance themselves? What's the point? They're doing, even being bound by God, they're doing all this evil stuff. So why do they need to try to create like a middleman or distancing themselves like that? They're operating all of these evil deeds using people, but what do they care? Right?
Did you have exposure or interaction with the actual spiritual entities, or was it just the liaison of other people in the covens and in the cults?
Kind of a way to view it as like a shot caller from prison is how I see a lot of the principalities operating, the fallen ones that are kept in chains of darkness. They use, technology has become the medium that they've helped to implore to come in to where they could have their message, their word into the masses, get their message to the masses. But before that, the methodology was ritual magic, was ritual practices, and these types of cults that had been carrying a piece of Babylonian mysticism all along figured out a phone book directory to use to call to those spirits that are in darkness. And so my experience early on, I think it'll help to set an understanding of how the families are looking to put themselves and position themselves in the hierarchy. And each family, there can be it's a genuine inverse pyramid, that the way that it operates. And there's a hierarchical ranking structure for that, based off of, on one side, your bloodline gives you access to the kingdom, and then your actions, your works, help to substantiate your ranking in that hierarchy, and it can change. And so that's why there's feudal systems. That's why there's fighting between these families. And that's why there's different agendas that they are endorsing and advocating, because they believe their methodology is going to persuade the forces of men to align with them. But there's a lot of conflict. But when it comes to the male side of the equation, they will put forth a child, a son, as their carrier and their contention to be a part of the beast, or to potentially be the actual carrier of the Antichrist spirit, to advance it on there. And so there's a course that if you're put on in those families, like there was 13 other boys that would come into this. The specific chamber I'm talking about is
I never understand why these people think that they're going to win. We already know what happens. Could you imagine being like, oh, my little Timmy here is the perfect candidate for the Antichrist? Oh my gosh, I'll be so happy and so proud of him.
The chamber I'm talking about is under the London Bridge in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. There's these hollow chambers that are under the bridge. It's a bridge that was brought over here from the city of London over the River Thames. And it was where they used to hold public executions. It's the lampposts that are on it were the melted down cannons from Napoleon's war. It's a very charged object. And they used to practice inurement, which is where they would sacrifice a living person into the walls of it and then entomb them alive inside. And when they were dismantling the bridge in the 1960s to bring it over here, they found men and women and children's bodies in the walls of that bridge. This is why the London Bridge is falling down. That nursery rhyme, that's what it's talking about. That people needed to give their children over to this power, their family. If someone was...
I did not know that. Did you know that? That's the London Bridge is falling down? A lot of those nursery rhymes have like dark meanings behind them of where they were derived from. But that's crazy. I did not know that.
Sacrifice their son, they're fully committed. But inside that chamber, that's where they would call on these the fallen. And I have learned enough over time to understand that these are masquerading spirits that would manifest to question their form or their figure as they would come, but they would engage in these things that were like the trials of Apollo on the sons. And there are specific rituals and acts that you have to do, actions that you have to take, pieces of literature you need to memorize, gestures. They make you do a lot of really bizarre and creepy things. And as you're doing that, they'll start to incant. The priest that's leading it will start to call on a specific mighty one, a specific deity that they're trying to invoke to come and manifest in the room and to make his presence known. That recipe book they're following requires all the ingredients of people to work cohesively. The vast majority of times it doesn't work. The vast majority of the times there is not manifestation. There is not a physical manifestation in the room, or there can be a possession over here where someone is speaking and mimetically dictating they're talking in twilight languages, and then they have an interpreter. I mean, it's a full counterfeit for what you would see in the body. There's literally interpreters. There's literally people that are then writing it down and now writing the books. This is their book of Lamb that they want to dictate out for people that were in the Crowleyan cult. But that trial on one of those Apollo trials that you went through was literally to stop your heartbeat. You had to stop your heartbeat, and the way they would do that is pack you on ice, to literally pack your body with ice to lower your respiration, lower your heart rate, lower your body, and bring you down to where you become dead. And when that happens, you have a priest who's casting your spirit, casting your soul into Sheol, and he's trying to make you go down and commune with these serpents that are held in prison. And that it's physically an experience I went through, seeing this lake of chaos and the dragons of confusion. There's all this stuff that's happening that's real inside the earth. And you're sent down there to relay a message and come back as an ambassador who's been born again, raised from the dead, and has the divine right to carry the seed of the serpent, the words, the breath of that deity on the earth, and dictate his law. That I physically went through, and my spirit went through, and soul went through. That's playing out constantly now as people are beginning to dabble in the occult and being initiated into these dark forces. They're trying to participate with these spirits, but they physically will come into the room. You will not just a felt presence, physically manifest in the room, and they will look like a man. They will look like a monster. They will look like an animal. They can look like all kinds of things because they're metaskizmazotoi. That's the word in Greek when he says, marvel not that Satan transforms himself as an angel of light. That's metaskizmazotoi. They're shapeshifters. They shapeshift into all kinds of different figures, but they will come forth and physically embody people.
Isn't that crazy that they're sending people to like astral project, go down to where the fallen angels that are bound to get messages? And then he mentioned too that they help with like building on technology and stuff, which I absolutely believe. I mean, I already thought that. I think that all of these global Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, I mean, they've been in communication with all of this stuff for forever. I feel like now people are just starting to wake up to it. Pretty mainstream amount of people all getting into the occult and doing all this stuff now. It wasn't like this the way it is now. It was very like taboo niche. Now it's like very mainstream thanks to technology, social media, all of this stuff. So I think the moral of the story is that we probably shouldn't be traveling down into places to talk to the fallen angels that God bound there for a reason. And we're all going to die one day and we're going to have to face those choices. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's here and everybody who's subscribed to this channel. And this channel is growing by the day. Let me know down below, what do you guys think? Because we all know how this goes in the end. The Bible tells us what happens. So these people are definitely on the wrong side and are obviously deceived. And I will see you all in the next one.